Hey, what's up, everybody? The VC here, coming at you with another video about anything and everything. That's what it's all about. You can find me on YouTube, or you can find me on Rumble. Subscribe and hit the bell icon. That way you can see me on the daily, or hear me on the daily. As I always like to post videos sometime in the morning. Yeah, in the morning, West Coast time. So here it is, about anything and everything. Nothing's off the table, and I'm open to all opinions. And so without further ado, let's talk about the Democrat clown show happening here, right? As you have the future of the Democrat Party, AOC, who's she's like a little chihuahua, just a little annoying chihuahua that is bangable. But that's about the only thing you can find appealing about her, and I think that's the only reason why she's stuck around as long as she has been for doing nothing, is that she's not hot or nothing. She's alright, but still bangable. And that's the only reason why she's still around in somewhat relevancy. So let's take a look at AOC and her stupid rhetoric on things.
Here you go, miss.
All right, the FBI investigating the bombs found in a Tesla showroom in Austin as protesters prepare for their Tesla takedown day of action this week. Here's AOC on who she's blaming for the violence against Teslas.
Oh, who's she going to blame?
Democrats are to blame for why people are so triggered by this? Because
no, absolutely
when
not.
you're at rallies saying, not you particularly, but your colleagues saying F Elon Musk and using other words, to profane words to describe him, does that rile people up, your supporters, to take action on their own?
I don't know. I think about Republicans calling me a communist and Republicans saying that I hate this country, and I certainly have felt the impact of that.
Okay, Fox News contributor and author of Capital Failure, Reversing the Ruin of America's Worst Run State, Steve Hilton joins us now. We'll get to that book in just a moment. But Steve, what did you think of her remarks there? I mean, wasn't that an opportunity to denounce this violence?
AOC
she didn't even
is
answer
just
the question.
Such a ridiculous caricature of herself now. What is she?
Like, she didn't even answer the question. She just, deflected it and then try to flip it to say, well, look at the Republicans to say about me. And it's like, but it's true what they say about you. You hate the country, you love illegals, you don't do nothing in your precinct of Brooklyn. So she's garbage, straight up.
What is she talking about? It is very evident that the left are pushing this violence. There's no other word to describe it. It's political violence. It is terrorism. I remember very clearly growing up in the UK.
It is political violence.
We had regularly, you'd have bombing, little bombs in litter bins on the street, at railway stations, in pubs. It was IRA, the Irish Republican Army. It was a terror campaign. It was designed to influence policy. That's what this is.
Yeah.
It is designed to influence policy, and it's even worse than that, because you look at Elon Musk. This is one of the greatest entrepreneurs of all time, probably the greatest entrepreneur. He's trying to help his country. What does this say to any business leader or anyone who wants to get involved with the Trump administration? They're trying to intimidate people. That's why we've got to clamp down on this incredibly hard. It is terrorism, just as President Trump says.
Yep.
Also, what does it say about the political left that they think that this is a messaging strategy that is going to work? I mean, you tell me what...
Yeah, everything about protesting that they do is political violence. It's always been political violence. From the January 6th setup to BLM to Antifa to the campus protesting at college campuses. So, all this stuff is political violence and domestic terrorism. Straight up, right? It's just, I guess it's very underutilized terminology that should be more utilized because it's true.
you're seeing as far as the Teslas, and are they getting rid of them? I mean, we've even seen some of the Teslas out on the road who have stickers on them who say, I bought this before Elon Musk went crazy, or whatever it is.
Or be like that dumbass that removes the Tesla logos off the car to say, this is our form of protesting, is to remove the T logo. And it's like, yeah, so, yeah, that's such a great way to show how you still own the Tesla, but you're denouncing Tesla by removing the logo. Great job.
Sign that the left really isn't going to learn from the last election.
Exactly. They're not learning at all. I mean, any normal person can see that the reason that they were defeated is they went too far left. And look where the energy is right now in the party.
Yeah.
It's the left. It's AOC. It's Bernie. And so it seems to me like they just haven't realized how out of step they are with the American people.
All right, you've got this awesome book with you. The newly
Califailure.
released book, Califailure, Reversing the Ruin of America's Worst Run State. What compelled you to write this?
Well, it's really a warning to the rest of the country. I live in California. Those of us who live in California, we know how bad it is.
Yep.
You talk about the Democrats now and where they are. The agenda of AOC and Bernie, which seems to be where they're going, that's what's been implemented in California. That's what we have, the AOC Bernie agenda. And on the back of the book, you can see where it came out. The highest poverty rate in the country, highest unemployment, worst homelessness. We pay the highest taxes, highest costs for housing, energy, gas, everything. So everyone needs to understand how we got here. That's why I wrote this book. How it happened, but most importantly, how we stop it happening.
Yeah.
In the rest of the country, especially as people are thinking about the midterms and, oh, maybe we'll go back a little bit to the left. No.
Yeah.
That's what we've got in California. It's a total failure on every front.
I want to play out this sound, Kyle Conforto.
And it's funny how Gavin Newsom talks about how unfair transgender is in sports, you know, man being in female sports, but yet you say it's unfair. Okay, so then if it's unfair, then why don't you put money where your mouth is and make it into law? Change the law. Well, of course he wouldn't do that. It's just pandering. All right, that's all he's doing is pandering. But of course he's not going to do nothing about it.
California fireman who says it's hard to think leaders are doing what is best for California based on what's happening. Listen here.
It's hard to look at our government structure and think that they're doing what's best for this state. And it hasn't been more evident than with the influx of illegal immigration into this state. Living here, paying your taxes, and watch them give the money that you paid to other people that haven't even bought into the system. It's discouraging.
You think about the mobility of the rich, right? They don't like what's happening. They can move. They can leave the state.
Yes.
Not everybody can do that, Steve.
Well, shall I tell you what happened? So that guy, the reason he's in this special, Califailure on Fox Nation, is because it's illustrating the impossibility for regular people to live in California.
I wouldn't mind watching this.
It made more sense for him as a fireman to move his family to Tennessee because it's cheaper to live there.
Yeah.
Here's a fact, all right? And I'm not making this up. This is a fact. He just mentioned it right here.
And commute to do his job. That's how crazy for regular people to live in California because of the costs. It made more sense for him as a fireman to move his family to Tennessee because it's cheaper to live there and commute to do his job. That's how crazy it's got. All the taxes, the regulations. That's what we've got to understand, how it happened. That's what Califailure does, this book. And as I say, we mustn't let it happen across the rest of the country.
Yeah, such a beautiful state, so much opportunity there. Watch the brand new special, Califailure.
I wouldn't mind watching that special, but here's a fact, all right? And I'm not making this up. I'm not trying to bullshit. But my family, I have a brother and my mom, they upped and moved to Tennessee as well, believe it or not. They did so a year ago, all right? First, my brother bought some land and a house that he built on it. And then, because he bought so much land, for the price you could pay here in California, and actually cheaper than California still, and on that same amount of land, he bought acres, all right? He built another, more like a, what do you call those? Like an ADU type of home on the land, for my mom to live there. And that's what happened. She ended up and moving. She's retired. So she moved to Tennessee as well. And to live there because just cost of living has pushed her out. Like, she can't even live on retirement income, just to live on basic living and pay the mortgage and bills and all that. Whereas there in Tennessee, you know, it's like she used what she, paid off on the home to just buy that ADU, which is now paid off. And all she does is pay monthly expenses, and that's it. Food, utilities, which, by the way, is a lot cheaper there than it is here. So it's just a fact, right? I wouldn't mind watching this. I'm curious to see what Caliphalia is about. We already know what it's about, but I just want to see how they put the show together. Be interesting to watch that. So yeah, and I guess we could, since, parlay that, since they, touched on Teslas. Let me look at all this here. Vandalism caught on camera. Let's see what happened here. Right, all this vandalism on Teslas.
Let me get you a cold one.
Right.
Try one of these. That is the best buffalo wing in the county. You eat buffalo? No, just chicken.
We begin the hour with an update on a story you'll see only on 2. We aired this video of a man vandalizing a woman's Tesla in a Whole Foods parking lot over the weekend.
Fucking
Houston
asshole.
police advised anyone who recognized the man to call its property crimes
what
unit.
An asshole.
Well, the man in that video called us and identified himself. KBRC2 reporter Joy Addison spoke with him. Joy, what a story.
Zach, that's right. Well, the vandalism happened in a Whole Foods parking lot in the Tanglewood area. The man in that video identified himself as Nicholas Carrion. He says though the incident happened during the height of Tesla attacks nationwide, causing an FBI investigation into domestic terrorism, this wasn't his intention. He says it was road rage, and he has this message for the driver.
When I watched the video, I noticed that a man was walking alongside what I first thought was just touching my car all the way.
Whatever, man.
A wheelchair-bound woman in Wichita, Kansas, is the latest victim of Tesla attacks after a guy
fucking asshole
apparently keyed her entire car while she was out to dinner with her family at a nearby, as you can see in the background, an Olive Garden. And the damage could mount up to $10,000. Abigail Gill is that Tesla owner, and she joins us right now from my home state of Kansas. Abigail, good morning to you.
Good morning.
So what a lot of people don't realize is that the Tesla has got this feature called Sentry. And if it's turned on, it actually tapes a video of people near your car. This guy in the pajama bottoms, you recognize him, right?
Yes, he was sitting directly behind us at the restaurant.
And so did he get up and go out and disappear for a little while, or what happened?
Yeah, we noticed him walk by our table. I was eating with my family multiple times, and he was very recognizable because of his pajama pants.
Yeah,
what an asshole,
exactly.
Man.
And I understand the Wichita police
That's such a bitch move, like to key people's cars and all that. And you see all this keying of cars as a way of vandalizing people's Teslas. Like, it's such a bitch move, man. Speaking of bitches, my ex did that to my car. I mean, I don't have a Tesla, but this is like years ago. She keyed my car too when she got mad at me. That was the end of our relationship. I mean, we were what do they call that? Hitting the rocks in the first place. So it was happening. It was unraveling, and she keyed my car, and that was like the final straw for me. I was out, So we know what happened here.
Name this guy, ID this guy as a person of interest, right?
Yes, they say they have a suspect, but we have not been given a name yet.
Okay. So as we've been hearing a lot of Tesla damage, vandalism, stuff like that, as you know. But here's what people need to understand. They might be trying to take it out on Elon Musk, Abigail, but really they're not hurting him, they're hurting you.
Yeah. It's like, come on, people, man. It's like, what kind of shit is that? It's such a bitch move. It's like, do you guys got to really do that to people, Man accused of vandalizing Teslas, right? It just keeps going on. Look at this. You know, anti-Tesla torching. It's like, come on. You know, like, do you really got to smash? This guy keyed the wrong Tesla. Let's look at this one. See, I mean, it just goes on and on. All these people keying Teslas and all that.
Leo was parked outside a Target in Alameda, California. When he came back, he discovered that his Tesla Model 3 had been keyed on all 4 panels of the right side while he was shopping. Leo immediately reviewed the Sentry Mode clips. Check out what he found. A guy had been walking around his car before...
If you're wearing a mask in 2025... You're a bitch for that too, alright? Because come on, like wearing a mask still, alright? Like COVID's been over, dude, alright? And if you're still wearing a mask, you're a bitch to cover your face, alright?
Pulling out what looks like a set of car keys. He proceeded to drag them all along the right side of the Tesla.
Asshole.
He really dug deep to make sure he damaged the paint. Don't worry, the story doesn't end here. In fact, we're just getting started, and the story only gets more disturbing.
If I knew what your car was, I would smash
The guy walked back to Leo's car after keying it and started feeling the scratch he'd just made with his hands. And not just once. He made a few trips around the Tesla, touching the scratch in the paint each time. Do you think he was trying to rub it off, or was he appreciating his handiwork?
Hope your fingerprints are on that, man.
He walked away again, only to return in slightly different clothes. His t-shirt is still visible under the hoodie, and you can see that he's still wearing the same pair of pants.
Took off your mask.
This time, he walked around the Tesla barefoot. He did the same thing to the Jeep parked next to Leo's Tesla.
Fuck, man?
After seeing all of this, Leo knew he'd be able to identify the guy and the car he was driving. Leo suspected the guy was doing this for fun, so he thought he was probably still in the parking lot. He didn't even need the license plate number of the 2018 Cadillac SUV to start scouting the parking lots for the guy. After looking for about 10 minutes, he finally saw the same type of SUV approaching from his right. Leo quickly parked in front of him, honked his horn, and got out to talk to him. To avoid any escalation, Leo called security, and they came over not understanding what was going on. Leo showed them the videos, and then they understood.
That was the guy.
Even with security there, the guy denied his acts of vandalism and acted very aggressively toward them. Leo then realized he'd have to call 911.
For sure.
The responding police officers were impressed with the videos, and they promptly found all the clothes the guy had worn in his car. He appeared to be intoxicated and didn't want to come to any agreement. Leo decided to press charges, and the police officers arrested him.
Yeah. Alright. Good. Asshole. It's like, come on, man. All these people keying, you know, these Teslas and all that. It's like, you guys don't gotta do that shit. It's such a bitch move. But yeah, anyhow, so that's what you got, alright? You got Democrat idiots. Alright, hey, come on. Republicans gonna key, you know, Teslas. Why? Why? They have zero reason to. And it's obvious it's people that are Democrat supporters and protesting Elon, and it's all connected. I mean, it's so obvious. I mean, look at it. It's so obvious that you could easily see that it's anti-Elon, anti-Tesla. All right, it's not rocket science to see that, you know. So I'm just saying, all right. And then of course, we'll cover this part of the tomfoolery that continues, right? We talked about it yesterday about the budget shortfall, $1 billion in LA, which is a lot in LA because of their overspending. And then on top of that, the LA wildfire, that's not even, I don't think is counted into this budget shortfall. You know, let's see what they got to say. about this.
Well, serious financial headwinds for the city of LA, as last week we learned the city is facing a nearly $1 billion deficit in the next fiscal year.
Here's what political journalist John Regardi told us about the economic health of the city.
I've covered City Hall for a long time, and I've not seen anything this dire since the depths of the Great Recession. And this far exceeds even the shortfalls that we were seeing in the early period of COVID-19. In the next few years, it's going to be a really tough time to be Mayor Karen Bass and CAO Matt Szabo.
All right, there. You heard his name there, right? And City Administrator Matt Szabo joins us now with more. Matt, thank you so much for being with us. Of course, $1 billion deficit, point blank. How did we get here?
Yeah, how? Because you have
thank you.
Cost of living that costs.
The city is.
Here, let me stop this for a moment. I mean, the cost of living is so high to live in California and LA and all that. You have a lot of people moving out, so you have less tax money. All right, so the tax base has grown smaller. And so what do? Now you have all those homes that burned down, which is part of the LA income from the wildfires. So what do, right? And bloated spending, because obviously Democrats don't know how to spend. They always have a spending problem, and always think that money will just grow from trees and all that and come out the ass and everything. But yet they don't think that, oh, wait a second. Maybe we should have money in the rainy day fund, right? Everything they do is irresponsible, and that's why it's been disastrous for Democrats in general that runs anything. And they've proven that.
Facing and being hit with a confluence of negative developments. We were already in difficult economic times,
right,
due to inflation and high interest rates, and that was putting downward pressure on city revenues. A lot of our city revenues come from economic activity, from sales taxes, from business taxes, from taxes on stays in hotels, and of course, taxes on sales of homes. So we were already struggling heading into this new year. The fires made those challenges much, much worse. And then third, we are now looking at the potential for economic downturn as it relates to federal policies, principally immigration policies and trade policies, both of which are inflationary. And that has caused us to revise our revenue projections down for next year by more than $300 million.
Mm-hmm. So, Matt, as you're well aware, viewers may not be, the city of Los Angeles is legally not allowed to run a deficit. So you said there will be, quote, extremely difficult cost-cutting decisions to be made, potentially thousands of layoffs.
Yep.
Is there a way to work?
I mean, you got to do layoffs. You got to cut programs, especially towards illegals. I mean, a lot of stuff is really easy decisions you can make, but they're going to complicate things because they don't want to not spend and not cut programs, that's for sure.
Work through this without a large number of layoffs.
It will be at this stage, and why I made that statement to the council is that we do need to prepare for that magnitude of position reductions. Closing a $1 billion gap will be a serious challenge for the mayor and the council. The mayor has given me explicit instructions, however, to look at every possible path to make the city more efficient, to consolidate services, to consolidate departments, so that we can better absorb the necessary reductions and minimize the loss to city services to the extent that there would need to be. We are also looking at other opportunities for revenue and using our dollars more efficiently. But to close $1 billion gap will require significant reduction in spending. And again, it's because we're bringing in so much less revenue than anticipated and facing higher costs. Not just in city costs, but also in lawsuits.
Okay. So when we talk about these layoffs at this early stage, where do you see them coming? What services could be impacted? And most importantly, our viewers want to know, will residents feel the pain? And do you worry that some impacted residents might actually go elsewhere?
LA will feel the pain across the board.
Well, certainly the work that's happening right now is attempting to minimize that. Ultimately, it's the decision of the mayor and the city council to approve whichever reductions.
It's good to see that they have a policy that they can't run on a deficit. So it's good. It's good because you can't just do what California governor's doing and just run on. And that's exactly what he's doing. He's running on a deficit, whereas LA can't run on that, which is good. It really will show that they got to make some tough decisions, which is not a bad thing. It's just it's taking responsibility for change, which Democrats hate to do. So it's just saying. Are ultimately to be implemented in July. And again, as I said, we're working at the direction of the mayor to minimize impacts to city services and to look at other revenue and other cost-saving opportunities with our payroll and through other means. So I can't say exactly right now which services will be impacted. That will be at the discretion, ultimately the decision of the mayor and the council. I could just say that in working to close this gap, we're certainly looking to minimize the impact to city services. The mayor will propose her budget on April 21st, and we'll be able to have a public discussion about it at that time.
Matt, in your presentation to City Council last week, you said the mayor directed your office to take steps for consideration in her budget. What are you recommending? Are you able to share that with us?
I can't share that at this time, but we are.
All right, fuck that, man. All right, I'm done with this. Let's move on. All right, so LA is in the deficit. I can't wait to see what's going to happen, like the cuts they got to do. They got to cut, all right, and they don't want to show it. They hate to do it, but it's got to be done. So I can't wait to see it. Let's see what else we got here. Migrants give up as U.S. destroyer deploys to the border. Yeah, so that was probably one last area of something where illegals had a chance to come through the border, through the waterway, right? Because the border wall is there and it's heavily fortified with military presence. And so with the military presence, border illegal crossings have gone down to literally zero. So very interesting, huh? All right, and I think that's and then that was one last area they really had to look for is just cutting off the water access because they take a boat across the ocean and then around into San Diego is where they mainly stop off at. So that has been nipped in the bud. So yeah, that's where it's at here. All right, so that's the latest on things since we're just looking at the Democrat clown show and tomfoolery, and so this is what we got, right? Democrats ran the show, proven that they can't do anything, and they're sore losers at best because they got to use violence and destruction to destroy companies and the Tesla and the cars because they don't agree with something and that Trump's running the government. So because they are, they hate Republicans so much that they got to go through violence and destruction just to make a case for things. Come on. All right. That's why they're terrible in terms of how they go about handling things. They're terrible at running things. And so all we got to do is just sit back and just continue to just dominate right now. Right. And I'm glad to see it. So that's the latest here. Comment down below. Let me know what you think. Subscribe, hit the bell icon if you're on YouTube, or if you're on Rumble. Follow me on Rumble. Either way is fine with me. I'm good with that. And other than that, I'll see you in the next one.